everyone who's hungry to please come near me. Well, I just would like to make a toast, a kind of toast, sort of, before I introduce you to the food and what has been happening here for the past 2 hours. My name is Joseph. In Spain, they call me Pepe. I've been living in Spain for 2 years, and I started this project called Food Left, or Comida Izquierda, and it's an activity, a practice that I have been doing for a year with leftovers, literally with Rest. You speak English more or less? Yes. Well, we'll do a kind of a language travel here, because in Portugal, I was just in Brazil last month. Beautiful country. But then I discovered there that the word for dessert is sobremesa. And so I speak Spanish, so I associated with this literal game, literal game. And sobremesa in Spanish is over the table, like what I'm doing now. So, sorry?
Sobremesa.
Yeah, sobremesa is dessert in Portuguese. But then I learned in Spanish that sobremesa is something that happens when you finish eating, and then when people finish eating and they start to talk. And this is something I learned in Spain, that people like to talk, and this is why.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And sometimes in some of the dinners or leftover dinners that I made a game where I asked people to just be silent for 5 minutes. And it was one of the most difficult processes that Spanish people have undergone. This silence. But anyway, I like it. I like this kind of discomfort. And I think there was a little bit of discomfort also in this leftover cuisine that you see. Okay, I'm flying with thoughts. But anyway, I said sobremesa because I'm over the table. And I'm not necessarily the dessert. I'm sweet. But yeah, you can eat me however you like. But I have a discourse to bring over the table. And this is why I try to bring always this leftover project wherever I can. It's a nomadic practice. I've done it in Spain. I've done it in Brazil. I'm doing it now in Germany. And it's my way of meeting people. I started this project last year in April, and I just wanted to do something. And in fact, if you read I read my description of my project, and when I was reading it, it was quite attractive. Wow, it's cool. My project is very cool. But when I started this project, this description didn't exist in my head. I just started doing, and I made an open call to the public of Madrid, asking them to invite me to their house so that I can cook their leftovers. So normally I would go to a house of a person that I wouldn't know, and I just have my spice kit with me, like a spice girl. No, I'm not a spice boy with a spice kit, and I would just see what's left, what is in the kitchen, to cook what is there. So then the idea was born to cook without a recipe in mind, to cook without an end in mind. And I was saying to some of these new friends I met, I said, it's like meeting a guy or a girl and then not thinking of wedding bells or happy endings. Just seeing what can emerge out of this practice. And this is exactly what happened, and this is exactly what happens every time I do this. It's a kind of repetitive project, and it's nothing new, it's not original. I did not invent the idea of cooking leftovers, but for me, a new experience arises every time I do this practice, because, for example, these people standing in front of you, like these people, like, if I can remember their name, Marco, Claudia, Clima, Kate, Laura, Bruno, Phoebe, and some other Italians there. I never knew them. I didn't know them before, but somehow they decided to help and volunteer to help me. And this is a kind of metaphor because you brought your leftovers. And your leftovers didn't know the other leftovers. And somehow you're going to eat them now together. And we're going to eat them together, you know. And there are probably other things that I would like to say, but I have a very short time. But I'm here. You can always talk to me. I'm the discourse. And you can talk to me over the course of this, because I've been writing about the philosophy of leftovers, or the philosophy of the unfinished. La filosofía de lo inacabado. And a small text is going to be published in Spanish. And I just want to say like maybe 3 things. Like based on the practice of cooking leftovers, some of the things I learned, because you learn things in practice. You know, sometimes you think of something or you theorize about something, but until you try it, then that's when you actually learn. You know, and one of the things is that there is nothing new. There is nothing new in anything. Leftovers has taught me that we never start from zero. I think some of the problems that we have is that we always think about the beginning. We are obsessed by the beginning and the end of everything, you know, even the end of Europe. But we never obsess about the process, the entropy, you know, the chaos. Like Thomas, what's the name of the guy who spoke last night? Thomas Wicker. Yeah, Thomas. Yes, and we think that, for example, that the crisis was a kind of spectacle that just suddenly hit us in Europe, but actually it has been happening for a long time. You know, it's not a surprise. It's a process that has been cooking. Whether it's something that is being cooked by us, or we are in the process of being cooked by others, or external forces outside of us, but it's always like that. And one thing I learned about the practice of cooking is the practice of making as well, because I'm hungry, and when I'm hungry, I try to cook. You know, it's normal, and it's like a very microeconomic way of seeing production and consumption in a way. But I think maybe this kind of connection sometimes in this globalized, capitalized world is disconnect. You know, this making and consuming. Well, if I want to consume something, maybe I should learn how to make it as well, and to decide on it myself. You know, and I guess that's why I think for me it's an important measure of what I want is my hunger. You know, I start with my hunger. When I'm hungry, then my desires, all my desires begin from there. You know, somebody told me a few days ago in SPIELART, you know, your project is quite sexual. Well, yeah, in fact, yeah. If you think about food and oral tradition, the things that come in your mouth, it's quite sexual actually. And yeah, and it has taught me a lot about time, you know, because I think it's funny that in this world now, in the contemporary world that we are living in, this art of meditation has become a kind of industry, you know. You see it everywhere. Yoga, Ayurveda, whatever, meditation, the art of living in the present, the art of living in the moment. I don't believe that there's a present. I don't think that there is such a thing that living in the now, because I think the now is quite an unstable thing. You know, when I say now, it has just passed. You know, the present and the future. It's always about the future, present, past, and the future. It's always about, you know, the leftovers. And I think it's more than living in the now or living in the present. It should be more living in the immediate. And no wonder that the art of meditation has become an industry that people also consume because maybe people forget a lot to live in the immediate, because they live so much projecting about the happy ending and or living in the past, and we forget about the chaos which happens in the middle. I like the chaos a lot. Even my mind now is a chaos, and I'm saying to you some manifesto, but there's no script. I've been always fighting whenever I do this performance whether I should make a script or a bulleted point of what I want to say. But normally there is always some information coming 10 minutes before my performance, and what do I do with that? I just cancel that, and then I see you, and yeah. And finally, what I wanted to say is that this idea of the space, leftovers, has taught me of what time and space is. That time and space is not something that is necessarily separate from each other. And I want to finish this kind of manifesto, sobremesa, over the table. I want to teach you a song that I learned in Brazil, a leftover. Because, and that this is the last thing that I want to say, that I am a leftover. Well, everybody is a leftover. And I think I've seen a lot of artists in this festival who work with the same thing but with different means. We have always been working with leftovers. It's just something that that maybe this way of putting this on the table, this cooking leftover, might make us see it more, that it's already happening in our everyday life, and maybe this is something that we should be a little bit more conscious about. That I'm a leftover, I'm a residue of the past. I speak a lot of languages. I represent Spain now, I never imagined that I would represent Spain. Well, have you, especially for people with a lot of nationalistic tendencies, have you tried representing another country? Well, I have. No, I represent Spain and Germany. And in Brazil, I was in a festival of Latin American artists, and I was the first Filipino there because I was representing Spain. Very convenient. It's like one of my favorite shows on earth, the Miss Universe beauty pageant. It's like there, it's all stupid, very camp and very gay, but I like it. But there you see how the game of the nations are being played. It's nothing so serious, and you see the women who answer the final questions, and you're supposed to answer the questions in 20 seconds. What do you think you should do to save the world? Questions like this. and there you see the game of the nations being played, and it's not being taken so seriously. Okay, so maybe to understand before we eat. And so this is the product of collaboration. The collaboration that I started with these people and with you. It's something that it's not going to be possible without you. So a song that I learned is by a poet named Caetano Veloso. Now, if you know it. It was a song that he composed for an artist, Lydia Clark. It's called If You Hold a Stone. And it's only 4 lines, and I would like us to learn it. It's 4 lines, and maybe a kind of oral tradition that I want to pass to you. So here is how the lyrics go. If you hold a stone, hold something that might be like a stone. Get something in your pocket. Yeah. Okay, second line. Hold it in your hand.
Hold it in your hand.
Yes. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late.
You'll never be late.
Okay, let's repeat. If you hold the stone,
hold
it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. Okay, let's try to sing it. It's like this. If you hold a stone, somebody knows it. Hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. Repeat after me. If you hold a stone, hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. And now imagine yourself as the stone. And then do this sensation. I do this all the time. It's another kind of meditation that I do. I'm not going to sell it to you. It's this thing where you sway a bit, sway from where you are, and just put your weight, submit it to the earth, as if you're giving the earth your gravity as a gift. And then try to sway a bit, like this. And then let's try to sing the song. Well, repeat after me, then after that we sing it together. If you hold a stone, hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. If you hold a stone, I like that. Hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. It's a mantra. If you hold a stone, hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. You can sing a bit louder. If you hold a stone, hold it in your hand. Hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. One more. If you hold the stone,
Hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late. If you hold the stone, hold it in your hand. If you feel the weight, you'll never be late.
Okay, I hope that warms us up in living in the immediate, and bon appetit. Guten Appetit.